third speaker, Linde Jacobs, who will share a different but equally important experience. So, Linde, if you want to, do you want to speak from the chair?
I'll just sit from the chair.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay. I don't have a clicker, so we'll just have you advance the slides. It's a tough act to follow. Sorry. Okay. My name is Linde Jacobs, and I want to initially thank the organizers for allowing me the opportunity to serve on this panel, sharing about my family's journey with genetic MAPT FTD. It's not lost on me that the hosts of this conference have a targeted focus that is not on FTD. And yet I've been given the space, the stage, and a microphone to do just that. Additionally, it's an honor to be sitting beside my fellow panelists detailing how the same single apparent protein can drastically destabilize a person's life. I'm in awe and humbled by your courage and strength to share. While our journeys that led us here have been vastly different, the toll in which these diseases have uprooted our lives and significantly altered them forever is very much the same. Turning the present that was once only full of prosperity and growth into a torturous battle of change, losing control and autonomy over what does or doesn't happen in our lives, leaving us no choice but to continue treading treacherous waters until the Tao overtakes. And everything that makes us unique goes with it. It's this journey and the ending of these diseases that unites our stories despite the drastically different beginnings. This perpetual fight to survive, to live. We are the target of Tao therapies. Next slide. Sorry.
There you go. They did it for you.
Okay.
You're doing great.
So dementia has been a household curse on my family since the time that I was born. My grandmother, Beverly, started exhibiting symptoms of FTD in the early 90s with drastic personality changes, hoarding tendencies, and turned her from a community socialite to a recluse, rarely leaving her home. She was initially diagnosed with Pick's disease, which we were told was a probable diagnosis until autopsy. My grandmother languished with this disease for over 15 years until she passed away in 2006. Because my grandmother's care was a family task, I remembered that her neurologist stated that a brain autopsy was the only way to confirm her diagnosis. So at the age of 18, I learned how to medically advocate for the first time. Having remembered these words from her physician, I ensured that a brain autopsy was carried through. I never saw those pathology results until 2 years ago. And embedded in that report was the first hint of what would be known as the family curse. The possibility of a hereditary frontotemporal tauopathy cannot be ruled out based on the histopathological findings. Just 3 years later, my mother Allison's brain started changing at the young age of 50. Her initial symptoms were subtle whispers of disinhibited behaviors, a slip of a bold comment, barely noticeable and inconsistent, catching you off guard, followed by a completely normal interaction, leaving you questioning, imagining, possibly projecting on whether or not there was really something wrong. After 3 years of these subtleties, enough neighbors and friends were also seeing these slight but jarring changes. She went from a woman who had circles of friends around her to being intentionally uninvited from social gatherings because her behavior became erratic and inappropriate, making others around her feel uncomfortable. Despite a family history and a daughter working in the medical field, it still took us over 8 years, 3 neurologists, 3 police arrests, and hundreds of phone calls for my mother to receive a proper diagnosis of FTD in 2018, which was then confirmed as a genetic form of FTD caused by an intronic splicing mutation on the MAPT gene in 2019, after her sister had received the same fatal diagnosis. To date, my grandmother Beverly and now all 4 of her children have received diagnoses of behavioral variant FTD with confirmed genetic pinnings. My mother passed away over 3 years ago after a fall. While her passing was considered premature based on my family's normal disease progression, there is an overwhelming sense of comfort and peace, knowing that my mom took her last breath in her home, never having to enter a facility and with her words intact, stating, "I'm good and I love you." While I still feel robbed from having my mother healthy to guide me as an adult, I also feel lucky that she was given a deserved, beautiful ending after 12 harrowing years of this relentless disease. Once her fight had ended, however, a new one began. I received my genetic testing results just 4 weeks after she passed away and was given the confirmation that the family curse did not end with my mom. It lives in me, and now possibly both of my daughters. And I was too late to spare them from having a future skewed by having a genetic threat. My sisters proceeded with their own genetic testing shortly after, and their results matched mine, all positive, which means that all 6 of those beautiful children in the pictures on the left are all facing the genetic coin toss that comes with an autosomal dominant disease. The FTD story will continue in my family's future generations until there is something to stop it. I had 2 options before me. I could allow this news to render and consume me during this period of waiting, or I can face this head on and try to fight my way to a better ending, turning pain into purpose and use this gift of foresight into a future of what I know will happen, but I have time before it does. For me, inaction was not an option. If I wanted answers, I had to seek out those to ask my questions. Logic prevailed. There's a problem, so let's try to find a solution. I knew that no one else was going to fight or push as hard as I will for my family's future, so why not try? If I want something to be done in my lifetime, I can't remain silent. I have to be fearlessly outspoken to make sure that my name is not just a number represented on the graphs, and I need to do it now. My scans are already starting to show preliminary white matter changes at the age of 36, which means that the time clock has started. There are legacies we will accept and those we won't, and I refuse to let the last years of my life stolen by a disease dictate the legacy I leave behind. I recognize that I alone cannot find a cure or treatment, but I can be a part of the process and give back what I can to provide, to hopefully serve as a driving force until there is something. I can immerse myself into research by giving my time, genetic results, family history, skin cells, blood cells, CSF, neuroimaging, to further study and understand what is happening so that someday there will be a way to stop or prevent this disease. I can join together with other families impacted by MAPT mutations who have also had generations devastated by genetic FTD, co-creating an organization, Cure MAPT FTD, and developing a unified voice advocating for our families to empower and embolden us to take a proactive approach to represent our disease and further place us in a position for possible trials and therapeutics. For me, being saturated within the scientific community while serving as my own science experiment and looking deeply into the dynamics of my family has given me purpose and insight, unlocking aspects of myself that I never otherwise would have thought of. It's changed my life, introducing me to the most incredible researchers and scientists and clinicians whom I never would have come into contact with otherwise, has provided me hope for a chance at a future not destroyed by a MAPT mutation. Hope for me is not passive. Hope is the fight, the relentless push forward until there is nothing left to push. I am aware of the reality that there is absolutely no guarantee that there will be a treatment in time to save me. But I truly believe that my daughters will be given options, an opportunity for a different future, one that they won't have to fight so hard for. So thank you for choosing this line of work, to have a career that makes a difference. Without individuals like yourselves studying these rare neurodegenerative diseases, there would be no hope for my future. So when you go back to your labs and your academic centers or your medical institutions, whether you are dealing with tissue, slides, biofluids, mice, or humans, when things get challenging or frustrating and the work seems like too much, I hope you will be reminded by the families here in my family's faces to surge forward, to keep searching for the answers to these terrible and devastating diseases. Know that the cells, imaging, or patient in front of you once had a beautiful, bright life before a diagnosis stole everything from them. My hope for you all is that hearing these shared stories today will encourage you to turn our pain into something purposeful. That this will be a moment in your career where our legacies will be remembered, and that you will continue to keep forever fighting. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.